This is the Gillette Labs with exfoliating bar. The bar and the handle removes unseen dirt and debris ahead of the blades for effortless shaving in one efficient stroke.
Sorry. So I've been looking here at the Bills. Obviously, it's a really good football team. They do pretty much everything well. Good on offense, good on defense, good on special teams. Lead or are close to leading the league in a lot of categories, in all areas. So it's obvious. You can see, why they're a good football team. Brandon and Sean have put together a really good roster. Most of it's what it was last year, but they've added a few key guys, draft choices, and a handful of veteran players. So really solid team, but they're explosive offensively. Allen's leading rusher, so that tells you all you need to know about what you have to defend. Every time he touches the ball, it could be any number of things. He does them all well. He's a great player. He's certainly an MVP candidate. He's really does a lot for their team in a lot of ways. Good skill players, solid on the offensive line, good defense, takeaways, rush the passer, good team speed, play smart. Good in the kicking game. Added Hines, some good coverage players. Changed the punter from last year, but other than that, it's a lot of some of the core guys, plus the return situation. So, good team. We're going to need to play our best game. That's what we're going to prepare to do this week.
Today's Wednesday. Is it a traditional one, or do you still divvy up today and tomorrow with first down?
Yeah, today's Wednesday.
Seems like Milano's role keeps expanding every year for them. What makes him such a tough defender?
Yeah, he's a smart player. I think he does about what he's been doing. They haven't changed a lot in terms of what they do. They have a good scheme. They have a number of things that they can do, and they just keep doing those and doing well. So, yeah, he's a versatile player for him. With Edmonds, blitzes, covers. He's athletic and smart.
Coach, I know it's a completely new team, but is there anything you can take from the playoff game a year ago?
There's plenty we can take from it.
Hey, Bill, you talk about playing your best game on Thursday, and that means avoiding penalties, avoiding mistakes. I did a dive on your penalties and found something unusual for your tenure here. Right now, at this time of year, you're 10th in the league in terms of most penalty yards. I'm wondering if this is just a year where, for some reason, the message is not getting through to some of the players in terms of mistakes and penalties at this time of the year.
Yeah, well, we didn't have any penalties last week offensively in Minnesota.
Yeah,
We're one of the least penalized teams in the league defensively. We haven't had we had a couple of penalties in the last couple of weeks, but we've been low penalties in the kicking game this year, and I think we're one of the least penalized teams defensively this year. So, and then last week we didn't have any offensive penalties in Minnesota. You tell me.
No, because like you said, I saw you in 10th, and that's just unusual for during your tenure here to be that up high at this time of the year.
We've never coached penalties. Not high on defensive penalties. So.
Coach, when you look at their offense now with Coach Dorsey running things instead of Coach Dable, is there any major differences to you, or is it just kind of the same?
There's a few subtle things, but it's basically the same offense. It's a lot of the same things, which I don't know why you'd change much. They've had a lot of success.
Bill, going back to the spring and the offseason, the decision to streamline the offense, I know it was dependent on a number of different factors. Was one of them just the success Buffalo's had defensively against you guys since McDermott taking over? I think you're averaging under 20 points per game against them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the whole spring conversation. Just try to do what's best for our team.
Now we've spoken a lot about Rhamondre's improvement in the passing game this season, but over the last 5-6 weeks, he's first in the NFL among running backs in receptions. Just how much has he been able to help you guys out in that area, especially over this last month or so?
Yeah, he's done a good job. Continues to do a good job. Pass protection. You know, he's had a couple really good plays in pass protection that James White level plays. You know, seeing things, making adjustments, that kind of thing. So he's been a big help for us in that area of the game. And whatever was been blitz pickup, flare control, catching the ball, yeah, all the above.
Staying with Rhamondre, Jason Garrett mentioned on the NBC broadcast and in your production meeting, you compared, in his words, Rhamondre's growth and development in such a short span to Tom Brady's and Lawrence Taylor's. If that's true, could you expound upon that?
I'm not sure. You'd have to talk to Jason about that.
Well, that was his claim, that what you said.
Yeah, I don't really remember it quite that way.
Was that inaccurate?
Yeah, I don't really, I mean, not the way you phrased it. I don't remember it quite that way, no.
How do you remember it?
I mean, you're talking about players that play completely different positions.
Stephon Diggs, I mean, looks like he does everything at an elite level. What do you see from him?
Good at everything. Good to the ball in his hands. Attacks the defense at all three levels. Playing with a great quarterback. It's a good combination. Yeah. Big, strong guy, hard to tackle, big target, fast. 98-yard touchdown. I mean, you gotta respect his big playability. Those two guys complement each other well. Knox, McKenzie. But I mean, Allen makes it all go. You know, those guys are open. They make big plays. Sometimes they're not open, or something happens and he makes big plays on his own. So they're hard to defend.
Bill, with Von Miller out, would you expect them to change anything? I mean, he's a great player, obviously. We expect it to work just the same defense and maybe just don't have to account for him the way you would normally do?
Yeah, they've had a lot of players play on their defense in the last 5 years. And schematically, it's pretty similar from week to week, from year to year. I mean, they obviously tweak it by game plan, do a little more of this against one team or a little more of that against somebody else, but they don't change really what they do, whether it was Jerry Hughes or I mean, they play a lot of people anyway, so their line, they play, I don't know, depending on the health of the team, they probably, roll, 8 guys through there. So left formation, right formation, slot formation, they line up where they line up and they play hard.
Bill, Josh Allen leads the league in interceptions. Is there anything to read into that number?
We haven't had one in a while. Hope we get one. But he makes a lot of great plays. Like every player, every play is not perfect, but he's got a lot of really good plays. So try to stop those.
Bill, how do you feel your guys are doing physically with the third game in 17 days coming up?
I worked through it, yeah. I think we have that many players that, a couple guys, we'll see where they're at. Most everybody else will be ready to go. It's the end of November, it's started December, so I mean, everybody's been banged up at this point in the year in the National Football League. That's what this league is, so. Yeah.
When it comes to their pass defense, they've been near the top of the league for years now, it seems like, in pass defense. What stands out to you about their system and just schematically how they play it on the back end?
Yeah, again, I don't see a lot of changes in terms of schematics. You know, there's a couple of different players in there for different reasons, but you know, they have a good pass rush, and you know, when they get the lead, which they have had the lead a lot, play from ahead, crank the pass rush up. It's not an ideal passing situation, so try to stay at a long yardage, try to stay from, you know, having to throw the ball, you know, on every down in the second half type of thing, which they've gotten some teams into that situation. It's hard, but their players are good. They're instinctive. They don't give up a lot of big plays. They make you earn it, and they have a good pass rush.
Your final question?
Bill Drod mentioned yesterday that Josh, you know, can sometimes turn plays into, his term, street ball, which seemed to reference that when he said he kind of creates plays on his own. Are there any defensive rules for when the play breaks down and kind of extends into what Drod called his street ball?
There are always rules, yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Is it just kind of plaster, or are there any more you can offer on that?
It would depend on what the coverage is that we're in is, and on what the rush is. It would depend on what type of loose play you're talking about here. So that would fall into different categories depending on what the situation was. Quarterback scrambled up the middle, if he scrambled outside, if it was man coverage, zone coverage, pressure defense, where a player was playing, interior, on the edge, in the deep part of the field, in the underneath coverage. It was just, you know, I mean, yeah, there's something for different guys that fall into those categories. It could be, you know, we don't know who that's going to be. It could be a linebacker, it could be a safety, it could be an end, it could be a, you know, interior player, it could be a, you know, I don't know. So depending on where you are and what happens on the play, then yes, there's absolutely rules to try to maintain the soundness of the defense. But it wouldn't be the same when man coverage is in zone coverage. It wouldn't be the same if you were an inside player or an outside player. It wouldn't be the same if you were in a deep part of the field or you had a short zone. It would be different for every player, just depending on where you are and what happened. So yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you.